Get mad at me if you want to. Some folks need killing.
Let me reassure you, the things that you will see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson. Clarence Thomas famously once said he was the victim of a high-tech lynching. Well, it looks like Mark Robinson is too, by a man who refuses to stand on stage and debate me about the real issues that face you.
Full disclosure, folks, this story is incredibly disturbing. The party of family values is at it again. Because CNN just dropped a highly anticipated and devastating story about North Carolina Lieutenant Governor and Trump-backed Republican gubernatorial nominee Mark Robinson, that even before the wild and disturbing allegations had dropped, caused Donald Trump's presidential campaign to pressure Robinson to withdraw from his race. And you know you messed up when even rumors about what you did have the Trump campaign pulling back its endorsement and telling you to drop out. And this is huge, not only because of what the reporting reveals, but also because this evening is the final deadline for him to withdraw from the race. So let's get right into breaking down the already well-documented, disgusting character of Mark Robinson, as well as these bombshell new allegations regarding, in part, Robinson calling himself a black Nazi, supporting slavery, as well as his damning and inflammatory comments on site message boards. Which, can I just say to start, these are bad and disturbing, so viewer discretion obviously advised, but also, who the f*** comments on a site? Anyway, drop a like, subscribe if you love seeing Republicans trash their own fake morals and get outed for it, and let's dive right into this thing. Now, according to the Carolina Journal that first reported about this story, the campaign of Attorney General Josh Stein, Robinson's opponent in the race for North Carolina's executive mansion, leaked the story to CNN and local Raleigh news outlet WRAL. And while that could be worthy of taking things with a grain of salt, it seems like CNN came with all the receipts. And I'll play you some of Robinson's speech denying the allegations and, in classic Republican fashion, putting the blame on anyone but himself towards the end. And I'll break down all of the disturbing allegations in just a second, but it is worth putting it all in context first, with a brief explanation of who Mark Robinson is as a person, as well as his already badly blemished character. You may remember he made headlines earlier this year with this insane clip of him delivering a speech at a church, infamously saying that some people need killing.
You know, there's a time when we used to meet evil on the battlefield, and guess what we did to it? We killed it. We didn't quibble about it. We didn't argue about it. We didn't fight about it. We killed it. When the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, what did? We flew to Japan, and we killed the Japanese Army and Navy. We didn't even quibble about it. We didn't argue and capitulate and talk about, well, maybe we shouldn't fight the Nazis that hard. No, they're bad. Kill them. Some liberal somewhere is going to say that sounds awful. Too bad. Get mad at me if you want to. Some folks need killing.
But that is far from his first or most controversial statement, even before this bombshell story. Robinson was already widely criticized for his rhetoric, which has included Holocaust denial, disparagement of Michelle Obama as a man, Barack Obama as a top-ranking demon, and advancement of the conspiracy theory that the Rothschild family is one of the Bible's 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Which is rich coming from a supposedly religious man of the party of family values, especially when you hear what is alleged in this CNN story. Because apparently Robinson made a series of inflammatory comments on a website's message board more than a decade ago in which he referred to himself as a, quote, black Nazi and expressed support for reinstating slavery according to the investigation. And even more damning, despite a recent history of anti-transgender rhetoric, Robinson said he enjoyed watching transgender in a review of archived messages found in which he also referred to himself as a perv. And while the comments which Robinson denies making predate his entry into politics and current stint as North Carolina's lieutenant governor, they were made under a username that CNN was able to identify as Robinson by matching a litany of biographical details and a shared email address between the two. And they go on to report that many of Robinson's comments were gratuitously sexual and lewd in nature. They were made between 2008 and 2012 on Nude Africa, a blank website that includes a message board, and the comments were made under the username Minisolder, a moniker Robinson used frequently online. And this dumbass listed his full name on his profile for Nude Africa, as well as an email address he used on numerous websites across the internet for decades. And as if it wasn't bad enough, adding that CNN is reporting only a small portion of Robinson's comments on the website given their graphic nature. Now here are some screenshots showing the idiot's use of the same username all over the internet, including this one on a tweet of a story titled "Transgender Wrestler Mac Beggs Wins Second Texas State Girls Championship," to which Mark Robinson replied with the same username, "So violence against women is now a sport?" Hilarious. Apparently, many of Robinson's comments on Nude Africa stand in contrast to his public stances on issues such as abortion and transgender rights.
30 years ago, my wife and I made a very difficult decision. We had an abortion.
We're not going to talk about it here in North Carolina. We're going to defend women's sports in this state. Period. That means if you're a man on Friday night and all of a sudden Saturday you feel like a woman and you want to go in the women's bathroom in the mall, you will be arrested.
Yet privately, under the username Mini Soldier on Nude Africa, Robinson graphically described his own arousal as an adult from the memory of secretly peeping on women in public gym showers as a 14-year-old. He recounted the story as a memory he said he still fantasizes about, writing, "I came to a spot that was a dead end but had two big vent corners over it. It just so happened it overlooked the showers. I sat there for about an hour and watched as several girls came in and showered." CNN is not publishing the graphic details of Robinson's story. Though they added, he said, "I went on peeping again the next morning, but after that I went back, the ladder was locked, so those 2 times were the only times I got to do it." Ah, memories. In other comments on Nude Africa, Robinson discussed his affinity for transgender corn, saying, "I like watching tranny on girl blank. That's effing hot. It takes the man out while leaving the man in. And yeah, I'm a perv too." Robinson, who would become North Carolina's first black governor if elected, also repeatedly maligned civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., attacking him in such intense terms that a user accused him of being a white supremacist, saying, "Get that effing commie bastard off the National Mall," on a post about the dedication of the memorial to King in Washington, D.C. by then President Barack Obama. "I'm not the blank. They don't let blacks join. If I was in the blank, I would have called him Martin Lucifer Koon." CNN then goes on to talk about his other controversial remarks, as well as thoroughly detailing how they used his biographical data to identify him as the person behind the username, and then going on to document how on these same sites he revealed his thoughts on race, gender, and abortion. Writing in a forum discussing black Republicans in October 2010, Robinson stated unprovoked, "I'm a black Nazi." And that same month, Robinson wrote in another post that he supported the return of slavery, saying, "Slavery is not bad. Some people need to be slaves. I wish they would bring it back. I would certainly buy a few." And in March 2012, Robinson wrote that he preferred the former leader of Germany, Adolf Hitler, over the leadership in Washington during the administration of Barack Obama, saying, "I'd take Hitler over any of the that's in Washington right now." And Robinson's comments on Nude Africa often frequently contain derogatory and racial slurs directed at black, Jewish, and Muslim people. And finally, in a largely positive forum discussion featuring a photo of 2 men kissing after one returned from a military deployment, Robinson wrote the sole negative comment, "That's some old sick BS." And look, folks, I fully apologize for how much of this I had to censor and blur, but this is insane. I don't think I need to explain why, and that man should drop out immediately. But of course, he isn't.
Hey guys, Lieutenant Governor Robinson and your Republican nominee for governor as well, of course. Well, guys, the news media is at it again. My opponent is at it again. You all have seen the half-truths and outright lies of Josh Stein on these ads over and over again. And now a story leaked by him to CNN is appearing now. Let me reassure you, the things that you will see in that story, those are not the words of Mark Robinson. You know my words, you know my character, and you know that I have been completely transparent in this race and before. Folks, this race right now, our opponents are desperate to shift the focus here from the substantive issues and focus on what you are concerned with to salacious tabloid trash. We cannot allow that to happen. Clarence Thomas famously once said he was the victim of a high-tech lynching. Well, it looks like Mark Robinson is too, by a man who refuses to stand on stage and debate me about the real issues that face you. We are staying in this race. We are in it to win it. And we know that with your help, we will. God bless you. And we will see you where? on the campaign trail.
I honestly don't even have jokes for this. It is so disgusting and despicable and also just so classic MAGA Republican. So please, all I feel I can ask is for you to share this story far and wide so that everyone can see how horrid these MAGA Republicans are, and maybe the constituents of the Party of Family Values will take a good hard look in the mirror and realize who actually represents the values they so claim to uphold. For Really American, I'm Kenny Hesse, and I'll see you all in the next one.